This graduation in mechanical engineering from Madurai Kamaraj University during the year 1993 and did his post-graduation in thermal engineering from Annamalai University in 1995. And he completed his doctoral degree from IIT Roorkee in 2008. He has more than 25 years of teaching experience under his belt. He has guided 7 people to complete their PhD degree in engineering and has published good number of papers with high impact factor and citation. He fulfills his purpose to enable post-matric and college students to know them, their creator, and the purpose of life, which is to enjoy life in its fullest sense within the boundaries of the maker. Also, his motto is to be joyful and honest, work with pleasure and competency, and to make those around happy. He is also coordinating the counseling cell of our college. He is always available for sharing your concerns and to find shelter in the journey of life. We are happy to have you on board, sir.
Thank you, Foster sir, for your kind introduction. And I welcome all the participants for this webinar. First of all, I wanted to say that I am not a professionally trained counselor, but I had good number of people, and I have attended some of the seminars. And moreover, as you heard about it, I am in meeting and counseling students for more than 25 years as a lay person, and that helps me a lot in handling students. So mostly from my experience, I'll be sharing a lot of things. Okay, I'll just share my PPT and I will keep going. So mostly we will have some questions and pollings also. I'm planning. I hope you are able to see the screen. Hope you are able to see the screen. So rational thinking for an emotional well-being. And the motto of life is we need to be joyful, happy, and enjoy to its fullest within the boundary of our maker. That is should be our motto. And how to handle emotions. தமிழ்ல சொல்லும்போது ஆரோக்கியமான மனநிலை, அதற்கு தேவையான பகுத்தறிவு சிந்தனை நமக்கு மிக முக்கியம். We have to deal with relational challenges, and mostly these relational challenges gives us lot of emotional problems. உறவுகளின் உரசல்கள் அநேக நேரங்களிலே மனநிலைகளிலே ஆரோக்கியமான மனநிலை இல்லாதபடிக்கு நம்மை பாதிக்கிறது. உறவுகளின் இயக்கம், how dynamic is our relationships அப்படின்னு பார்க்கும்போது certain things is very important. We feel very irritated or annoyed or frustrated, and the reason for that, most probably when you don't get what you want, நாம் எதிர்பார்க்கிறது விரும்புகிற காரியங்கள் நடைபெறாத பொழுது we get irritated, கோபமும் விரக்தியும் வருகிறத பார்க்கலாம். Otherwise, when you lose what you had, the precious what we have, when we lose it, we lose our emotional stability, we lose our composure. When we lose what we had, so these are two of the major things which triggers our emotions. When you don't get what you want and when you lose what you had, these are the two major things which irritates our relationship. And for that, we may be the reason or others may be the reason. Why we are irritated is maybe we are not able to handle it correctly, or sometimes others are irritating us and it goes beyond our control. That's why I say we may be the reason or others are also maybe the reason. Okay, this is very important in relational dynamics. Some persons will trigger your feelings. When I say some persons, we can also be a person and we can trigger the emotions of others. Sometimes positively, when we encourage them, their emotions are positive. Sometimes we do a lot of things, bad things, and they get disturbed. So others may also make us sad, and we can also make others sad. So when I say some persons will trigger your feelings, possibly we may, I may, you may also person to trigger negative emotions. So I have put it, difficult people to deal with. There are a lot of difficult peoples, and how to deal with it. We may be a difficult person. I don't know. You may be knowing. I have to ask my wife whether I am a difficult person or not. My close friends. So difficult people are there in the world. It is inevitable. And how they look like and how to deal with them. People who think they are always right. This is one group of people. They think that they are always right. They are never wrong. They couldn't see their mistakes, and they always think that they are always right. There are other type of people who always blame others. Always blame others. Murmuring. They keep on blaming others. That is also there. And certain group of people there, they criticize, but there is no fairness in it. Unfairly criticize others. And there are people who don't understand you. Sometimes we don't understand certain people in their shoes. So these are difficult people, difficult to deal with it. People who make you small before them. And they get joy. I don't know what it is. But sometimes we also do it. We have to be very careful. People who make you small before them, that's not a good thing. And people who cannot empathize with you. They cannot see the problems in that shoes. So say, for example, this is a very tough mindset. People with difficult dealing with this, they won't admit their mistakes, and they always think that they are perfect, so I'm always right. That is a very hard people to handle with it. I'll just put a polling. Okay, I'll stop sharing and I'll put a poll. And I think you can just click on and answer it. What is the problem in saying I am right? Okay. Are able to see the polls? Yeah, you can just click your answers. There are 3 options are there. You can do it fast. In another 20 seconds, you can finish. Let me see the responses. What is wrong with I am right? Correct. Problem? They may often feel they are not wrong. Nothing is wrong. It only makes them difficult to live with. I am right in சொல்றாங்க. Another thing, when we are somebody says I am always right, they become closed to learning. Learn பண்ணவே மாட்டாங்க. So no change, no growth in their attitude or life or whatever may be the things. They are the losers when they feel that they are always right. So can you please respond it? I think, hope it is in your screens. Just click the options and make it fast, please. I couldn't get much response. Can you do it fast, please? You can just select some of the options. At least one option. What is wrong with I am right attitude? At least I should get a 50% of opinion. Can you do it fast, please? Only 19 people have done it. 21. Can you do it fast, please? We have to keep going. Thank you. I think some of you have really responded. There is no wrong answer in it. We are just expressing our views because everything is a problem. And what is more? that is what we could see. Okay, I'll just close it. I think 25 people have responded. Thank you. I think you can think about it. Okay, so I just ending the poll. Thank you for polling it. I'll just share the results. You can see, I hope you could see that almost half of you have expressed that when you have an I am right attitude, we close ourselves so that we cannot learn to change. That is you're right. And when you say I am right, they feel that they are not wrong. Actually, we do a lot of mistakes. We are wrong many times. We won't accept that. But we cannot say nothing is wrong in it because we make others' life very difficult. Okay, thank you for participating in this polls. And I'll continue. Okay. Okay, I'll continue. So the second attitude is the people, difficult people is who always blame others. It is not my mistake. It is their fault, his fault, her fault, but not me. But sometimes we have to be very careful when you are pointing the fingers at others. Naturally, at least minimum of 3 fingers is pointing towards us. So that is not a right thing. And people who criticize unfairly, that is also a very dangerous phenomena. There is no fairness in criticism. We have to be very careful. That will spoil the personality. And many times people can't understand you. Then we feel very emotionally disturbed. Our intention, people have taken it wrongly. They couldn't understand our intention of doing certain things. Then that triggers our feelings and emotionally we become unstable. So that is also there. And some people make others very little. They think that they are silly people, nothing, small. So that is also not good. And another type I was thinking about is if you cannot empathize with them, we have to see in their shoes with their perspective. Then we can understand why they behave like that. Otherwise, we cannot empathize and help somebody. So identify your emotional triggers. So for our well-being, there will be difficult people in and around the world, normally, in our workplace, in our home. Wherever you go, you have to come across people difficult to deal with. Not only that, other things are also will trigger your emotions. Someone you care about it is not available with you, then your emotions will get triggered. And anyone is angry at you and disapproves your views or certain things, that will also trigger your emotions. And somebody rejects you, and suppose somebody is close to you and all of a sudden for known or unknown reasons they reject you, means that will definitely trigger your emotions. And sometimes we are in a helpless situation, very painful situations, and we don't know what to do. Then I think we feel sad. All our personalities will get really disturbed. And this, I think you and I should not do it. But some people being very judgmental and critical on you, they assassinate your character, and that will trigger a lot of emotions in you as well as in me. So we should not be judgmental and critical on somebody, because that will trigger a lot of emotions, depressions it can lead to on others. And this is also a very irritating thing, someone trying to control you. Because freedom is one of the very important aspects in a person, to have a joyful life. For the well-being of a person, freedom is God given to us, within the boundary, of course. Freedom is not without boundaries, freedom is within boundaries. And if somebody is trying to control you, if you couldn't exercise your freedoms, then I think your emotions, your personality will get affected. And where it becomes really a problem is when you have low self-esteem. When you have low self-esteem about you, you couldn't realize your self-worth. And when it happens is we might have a lot of expectations, and if it is not met, then you'll have low self-esteem possible. Then your perception about unmet expectations will trigger negative feelings. And you understand, when you have low self-esteem, I am worth, my fingerprint is separate, unique, my DNA is separate, God has created me uniquely. So that self-worth you should have always. If you lose your self-worth, and a lot of negative feelings comes in, and negative feelings are the basis for negative behavior. Why we have a lot of negative behavior is basically you have a lot of negative feelings. இந்த அநேகர் காயப்படுத்தும் விதமாக நாம் நடக்கும்போது இல்லைன்னா நடத்தப்படும் பொழுது, that's why I talked about people, difficult people is in and around our environment. And அவங்க காயப்படுத்தும் பொழுது நம்ம சுயமரியாதை நமக்கு உள்ள நம்மை குறித்து நம்ம எண்ண வேண்டிய விதத்துல எண்ணாதபடிக்கு தாழ்வாக எண்ணுகிறது பெரிய பிரச்சனையை உருவாக்கும். எதிர்மறையான உணர்வுகளை தூண்டி விடுகிறது. நிறைய ஆசைகள் இருக்கும், எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன்ஸ் ஆர் சோ ஹை, அண்ட் இஃப் இட் இஸ் நாட் மேட், அது நம்முடைய எதிர்மறையான உணர்வுகளை தூண்டிவிடும். கேர்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கணும். we need to be. எதிர்மறையான the negative feelings will trigger negative behavior. What will happen when your self-esteem is very low and your negative feelings are triggered? We become a victim because a lot of people have hurt us and we become a victim. Otherwise, we victimize somebody. A lot of people are looking, if you look at their history, why they are very sadist. Because they were once a victim and they will victimize others. That is what we see. Divided homes, without parental care, and harassed, especially child sexual abuse, and all these things. They have once become a victim, and unless otherwise they come out with good counseling and other things, they will try to victimize others. Negative feelings are the basis for a lot of negative behaviors. So we need to be very careful. So if you have negative feelings continuously in your mind, you lose your self-confidence. If you lose your self-confidence, you lose your personality. You become insecure. It is a chain of process. When you lose your self-confidence, you become insecure and you become anxious over small things. And it will affect your personality. We cannot enjoy the life. We cannot enjoy the life God has given to us. We need to enjoy the life to the maximum within His limits. So that gets affected because you lose self-confidence, because of your low self-worth. That feeling of low self-worth, you lose your confidence, you become insecure and anxious. It's a chain of thoughts. You look at this iceberg. The observable thing is we look at a person only by the behavior. Only by his behavior. We have a lot of students, most of us are teachers, we have a lot of students. We look at only their behavior. You have to see why that way the person has behaved is. A lot of things on the inner man, the inner being, what I am. There is my belief system, my values, my thinking process, my emotions. All these things will come out as a behavior which is only observable to others. But these invisible things has to be strong. The inner man has to be strengthened. If our inner man is so strong, I think this behavior will be very good. So I think we will go into another polls. I'll just stop sharing, and you can hopefully you can answer it also. Okay, this is on the attitude as a teacher. So what is my attitude as a teacher? If I believe that a teacher can be a great life changer, yeah, a teacher, if you believe, a teacher is a life changer. That power the teacher is having. In that way, what will be my attitude as a teacher to an erring person? He keep on erring. He keep on making mistakes. He keep on making mistakes and he keep on irritating us in the class. So if you believe that I am a teacher, I can change the life of a person, what should be my attitude in dealing with a continuously erring person? Can you launch it very fast, make it fast, please? So one is, why can't you find a sense what I am saying? And that can be an attitude. Another thing is, we should probe into it, what makes him insecure? Because as I was telling, because negative feelings, low self-worth, loses self-confidence, then he becomes insecure and over anxious. So we have to think what makes him insecure. That is why he is disturbing the class. So we should look at it in that sense. Hope you are answering very well. Thank you. At least 23 people have answered. I'll just wait for 2 minutes. Thank you. I think almost half of you have answered it. So we should believe that a teacher is a life changer of a person. And if he is a life changer, and the way in which we should approach a erring student, a continuously irritating student, we have to look into the person, what is causing him and what makes him highly insecure and he is irritating. As we could see that, I'm just sharing the results for you to see. We could see that a lot of people have said, believe that we are a life changer, and we should look into the person's why he is feeling insecure. Thank you. I'm stop sharing and I will continue. So we have to look at the person in that way. How we can, why is that person is behaving like that? Okay, so that is a very important aspect. Okay, I'll continue. So here we can see, I'm just coming. Normal anxiety, because the third thing is normal anxiety. Anxiety is, we get worried, isn't it? What will happen next? Like that anxiety. Normal anxiety is, it is appropriate worry that activates us. Some pressure is needed, otherwise we won't do it. For students, there is a deadline for exams, then they will start study. For faculty also, for us also, if the management gives some deadline, if, okay, tomorrow we should finish all these things, or next week we should finish all these things, we should complete the syllabus in time, there are deadline, there is an academic schedule, because some sort of pressure is needed, because that activates you, otherwise we will become dull. And normal anxiety, which agitates you enough for positive action. We need some agitations, otherwise most of the time we will get dull. When somebody is the peer pressure or some pressure, but that should be limited. It should not cross the beyond our stress level, isn't it? We say that breaking stress, it should not go that way. So a little bit of anxiety agitates you enough for positive action. We will do a lot of positive actions. It helps you to enhance performance, my performance. Okay, I wanted to finish, somebody has given it for corrections and I am delaying. Some of my PhD students have given the thesis for correction and I am delaying. I used to tell them, hey, you please, every week you call me and just tell me what happened. So you put me a pressure. Then only you put me a pressure, then only I will do it. So some point of anxiety, deadlines is always good. To live with no anxiety is problematic. என்ன நடந்தா எனக்கு என்ன ஒண்ணும் கவலைப்பட எரும மாடு மாதிரி இருக்கிறது. That is not correct at all. We need to have some anxieties, and if you don't have anxieties, that is also a problem. What is normal anxiety is, it is not something that stays even after the thing that we were worried about passes off. We have to find out what is normal anxiety and what is abnormal anxiety. So normal anxiety means it will pass off once the things has gone. We have been worried because of the sad news, something. Then that worry, anxiousness will go off once that problem is over. It will not stay long. So you have to be careful about us, whether that anxiety stays long or not. Normal anxiety it is not something that restrains you from doing good, something that restrains your performance, something that hinders your performance. When you are worried, when you are anxious, and when you are over anxious, I think I have seen a lot of people, when they become so over anxious, they cannot do anything at all. The mind doesn't work, the performance hinders, and normally they will be very good at a lot of things, and they take too much of time because it has gone beyond their limit. But normal anxiety doesn't restrain you from doing good things. So we need to find out disorder, abnormal anxiety or anxiety disorder. We should be able to identify what is normal anxiety, because as a human being, we should have some anxieties. What is anxiety disorder? So the American Psychological Association defines anxiety or abnormal anxiety an emotion characterized by feelings of tension, worried thoughts, and physical changes like increased blood pressure. That is not good. Sometimes when deadline comes, when a lot of things, when people criticize, when people, the difficult people bombard us, then your feelings, you will get worried thoughts continues, and it will reflect in our physical changes. That is, we have to be careful. And anxiety disorder as having recurring intrusive thoughts. Recurring means day, night, and day. When you go to sleep also it is there, and your sleep get disturbed. When you wake up in the morning, again it comes. That thought is intrusive. It is intrusive in the sense it gets into our mind and whole personality. It affects, and it comes again and again. That is an anxiety disorder. We have to be careful about it. We have to be careful about it. Once anxiety reaches the stage of disorder, it can interfere in our daily functions. You should be able to identify. You lose your deadline. You lose. You forget to remember a lot of good things. You will be very slow in what are the things we used to do fast. Now you have slowed down, because the anxiety, when it reaches the level of disorder, it interferes in our day-to-day life, and it hinders our performance. That is a very sad thing. And once we used to be always joyful, when somebody looks at your face, I think the smile is always should be there. When that is missing, when you look very sad, long period of time, then I think that is a disorder, and we need to be careful about it. Abnormal anxiety causes you to go through undesirable consequences. It impairs your performance. It affects your relationships. That is very important. You'll be very angry. You'll outburst. You lose your temper to your closed ones. And it wears you down physically. Physically also, it creates a lot of problems in us. Psychologically, our entire personality gets affected. So you have to be very careful in dealing with our anxiety. It should not go to the abnormal level, because it has a lot of undesirable consequences in our life. Basically, it affects our relationships. Not only relationship, it affects our performance. Our efficiency goes down. And not only that, our health gets affected, mental health get affected, physical health get affected, and that is very dangerous. Where is it coming from? we have to be careful to identify where this abnormal anxieties are coming out. We need to trace it out, where it is coming from. So where it is coming from, basically genetic predisposition is there. This also we have to be mindful of this. Suppose if your parents or your siblings or your earlier generation have a lot of mental disorder problems, then we have to be very careful about it. Our genetic predisposition is very important. I know in a lot of families, one after the others, the brothers, sisters got affected. Of course, there is a lot of treatments are there when you identify it in a very early stage. Easily we can lead a normal, happy, joyful life. So one is that, then the brain chemistry, disruption of hormones in the brain, recurring thoughts coming again and again. And we have to be careful and we need to deal with it. And our environment where we live, stress in personal relationships. And mostly we can see that broken families, the loved ones, close friends, when they depart, it creates a lot of stress in them. Personal relationship. If the job is very stressful, it affects us. The job is, I always love to say that we should enjoy the job enjoy the job. Otherwise, that will create a lot of stress. Not only that, now this lockdown, pandemic, a lot of financial predicament is there. A lot of people lose job. Have you seen that? A lot of suicides are happening now. And I really wonder, AIMS doctor is committing suicide. Young doctors are committing suicide. IITians are committing suicide. This period. You see, recently I was reading one IIT student, she's supposed to finish her PhD. She took care of her life. So many things we are seeing. So we need to be careful about our well-being. Our well-being is very important. Only one life. We need to live to its fullest. And a lot of medical factors are also there. Stress from serious medical conditions. Side effects of medications is there. Side effects of medication is also there. So we need to realize why I am so anxious. Why my mental well-being is not so good. I couldn't enjoy the life to the fullest. So all these things we need to look into it. Is there any hope? Definitely. Otherwise, doing this type of workshops or sharing this knowledge which I have gained is useless. Otherwise, spending this 1 hour time becomes useless. There is hope. Events trigger our negative feelings. Some people will trigger our negative feelings or positive feelings. And basically, they first touch our feelings. To change our feelings, we need to change the way we think or the way we behave. So 3 words I want you to think about it. First, when somebody triggers you, they triggers your feelings. Then we become emotionally unstable. Then the whole chemistry goes wrong. Instead, we have another component in our personality is your mind, thinking ability. Then the actions, the way we behave. So 3 things are there. So somebody triggers your feelings, don't allow your feelings to dictate you, control you. Instead, you have to take it to your mind. Then your behavior should control your feelings. I'll talk about it. So 3 things, as I told. We have feelings here. Every personality will have. Then our intellect, thinking process. Then our behavioral pattern. 3 things are there. So the feelings is what we feel. What we feel affects how we think and act. Similarly, what we think affects how we feel and act. And what we do affects how we think and feel. The 3 are interconnected, of course. 3 are interconnected. We cannot completely separate it out, but it has to come in a balance. So what we feel affects our thinking and our actions. Similarly, what we think affects how we feel and act. What we do our actions affect our thinking and feelings. So say, for example, changing perceptions. Normally, why we get emotionally disturbed is our feelings get affected. Somebody triggers our feelings. Then it goes to the thought process and behavior and other things. So which is dominant here? The feelings. When the feeling is dominant, we will become anchor, we will do unwanted things, we will scold somebody, we will hit something and lose our entire controls. So we need to change this process. So when somebody triggers you, don't allow your emotions to take control of you. Instead, take all the triggers to your thought process. Okay, I'll show you. So just reverse it. What you have to do is, when somebody triggers or some persons or some things, sad things happens, instead of allowing your emotions to take control of you, take it to the thought process. That is where the rational thinking comes. That is where the rational thinking comes. Why we become irrational is the feeling is completely controlling you. Instead, take all the triggers to the thought process and think it over, why it happens. As we did it in the polling, why that person is continuously irritating me in every class. Why he is feeling insecure in him? Because that insecurity is triggering him. So we had to look into, empathize with him in that shoe. He is victimizing because he might have become a victim. When somebody victimizes, we should see beyond that what we see, like an iceberg. Instead of seeing their behavior alone, we should be able to see what makes them to behave like that. That is very important. And sometimes, instead of, sometimes our thought in certain situations, our thinking capacity gets collapsed. And emotions take the outer stage. In that case, one of the ways, if we have good behaviors, good habits, good character development, that's what I said. If you look at that iceberg, you can still remember belief, value systems, and good behavior and character. Then that character and behavior will not allow us to do dirty things. Even though somebody has triggered, when you take it to the habits, then that will help us. So my point today is don't allow your feelings or emotions to take the center stage. That will totally distract you and disturb you. And we will end up in a lot of bad things in life. So we have to be very careful and don't allow our emotions to take the center stage. Because the emotions basically anchor, anxiety, depression, it leads. And it is very difficult to control our emotions in that way. And sometimes this emotion, if it takes the center stage, it will end up in wrong behaviors, violence, and sometimes when we are used to that way, we will end up in violence. Otherwise, the other negative part is we completely withdraw. We will not be a part of that. That is also there. When we get irritated and stressed, depressed, sometimes we normally withdraw. Some soft personality people, they will withdraw and they will not actively participate. What is it? Let them do anything. Like that, they will withdraw. And some people are ending their life. That is also very sad. And as I said, take it to the rational part of it, the thought process, the capacity God has given to us to think about it. Then we will wait and we will see it in the right perspective. Behavior is a circular process. Irrational thinking, as I told initially, you should have a good self-worth. That should give you a confidence. Irrational thinking is when somebody says, you look ugly, you are not competent, leads to self-hate. நம்ம மேலே நமக்கு நம்பிக்கை இருக்காது. அது வந்து ஒரு dangerous-ஆன situation. I'm not looking good, people are not appreciating, I'm not competent, I'm ugly. This words and all leads to self-hate. The self-hate is very dangerous. Very dangerous. That will lead to insecurity. Insecurity leads to anxiety. It's a chain of process. One affects the other. So we have to be very, very careful. So self-hate leads to self-destructive behavior. And we need to be very careful that we should enhance our life because we need to enjoy it to the maximum. And we have to be joyful. That should be our goal. I should be happy and enjoy the life within the boundary God has given. And I should not destroy myself. Destructive behavior comes from self-hate. Eventually, what happens is we will make those close to us, their life will be horrible. That's a dangerous thing. In an organization, we'll spoil our colleagues and other things because the hatred, eventually hatred of others. Instead of forgiving and accepting them as they are, we started to hate. But we need to accept and adopt and accept others as they are. And we need to change ourselves because we cannot change somebody and we need to change ourselves. So that is very, very important. And what will happen is irrational, which in turn causes others to act irrationally towards the individual, and there will be chaos. So once you are irrational, it will spoil you, spoil others, and they becomes irrational. It is like a COVID-19. It will keep going, chain of process. Like COVID-19, it will not stay with us. It will spoil the entire circle. And the consequences of irrational thinking is our career get affected, our work affected, our boss will find it difficult to handle us. So a lot of issues, a lot of relational problems will come, and you will end up in low self-esteem. That is, you will feel insecure, you loses your self-confidence, and over time, if it continues, depression is possible. So you have to be very careful with the consequences. Anxiety from irrational fears. தேவையில்லாத காரியங்கள்ல அதிகமாய் கவலைப்படும் பொழுது it will lead to a lot of other things. And we started to overreact to the daily inconvenience. Inconvenience is normal, but when some inconvenience comes, I think we will overreact. To react is okay, but when we overreact, that will end up in a problem. I think God has taught us a lot of patience in this time. More than 6 months, we couldn't go around, we could socialize, we couldn't do a lot of things. The world has come to a halt. Even the big countries, they said everything in their control, they can do everything of their own. They thought that like that. Everything is in their fist, they said. They raised their fist. But I think God said nothing doing. God said nothing doing. All has come to a halt. So let us not overreact. Negative addictions. If you look at some people are addicted, especially overeating, negative addiction of overeating. It all comes when you are really irritated, when you are over anxious. So that is all irrational things. So we have to be careful. That is the consequences. And a lot of people get into drugs, alcoholics, smoking. Some people can't live without smoking because their mind, they were not able to keep it in a rational way. They are more anxious and they wanted to it will not go. Actually, it will cause damage to the liver. So a lot of negative addictions will come and a lot of physical illness will come. And we need to be very careful. So how we handle, this is my last polling and I'll wind up in another 5 minutes. So I expect you people to participate in this last polling. How we relax when we become so anxious, because we need to relax. And when you are anxious, how is relaxing possible? Okay, There is 3 options I am just sharing you. You can select one of the things. Can you do it fast? When you are anxious, how is relaxing possible? Just jog it out and jog it out till you get tired. Somebody is doing a lot of physical exercise once they are over anxious. When they are over anxious, they will share. They'll just jog it out, go for a walk, they go for a running, they do cycling. And somebody says, not to worry and quieten your mind, keep telling. That also somebody is doing. Another people, what we do is visualize the cause of anxiety. Why this anxiety has come into my mind? Why I am so anxious? Rational thinking. Rational thinking, they will put it in. Then people, those who believe in God, they say, God, it is not in my control. In football, people used to say in English quote, they say, when the ball is not in your court, you cannot play. When the ball is not in our court, we cannot play. If 22 people are playing football, only one can kick the ball, isn't it? So that way, when the causes for anxiety is beyond our control, it is better to bundle it over and hand it over to God, who controls the universe. That is one way we can relax in our anxiousness, because anxiousness we cannot completely stop it. That will be there, is a part and parcel of our mind, isn't it? So in that way, how to relax is this is one way we can do it. Okay. So around 25 people have responded. Thank you for responding. I'll just share the results for you to see. I hope you could see that. And almost 50% have told that I will bundle it and hand it over to the Lord, because it goes beyond my thinking. Okay, I'll continue and I will finish it in another 5 minutes. Okay, thank you for listening so far. So this is, I wanted to close, because when it is goes beyond your control, and if you are sure God has created me and God has created the universe, and if you know who I am, your self-worth, if you know your identity, who am I, and you know where do I come from, you know your origin, that will all gives your self-confidence. As I told you, it's your belief system, it's your values. Why am I here? I am here on this earth for a purpose. Until then I will live. And where do I go after my death? I know my identity, origin, purpose, everything is clear about me, clear to me. Then you will have confidence and you will face all the life anxieties. I would like to summarize you. Before that, what we have seen so far is emotional. Things are triggered by people. We come across people very difficult to handle. Sometimes we may be the person. And majorly 2 things triggers us. One is if I couldn't get what I want, and if I lose what I have, that will also triggers. And these triggers are inevitable. That cannot be avoided. That will be part and parcel of life. Nobody said I was not emotionally triggered. Everybody is triggered, but the extent may vary. And how we handle matters. Somebody handles it better, they will enjoy the life. So we need to handle it in a better way. And if you have low self-worth, that is very dangerous. That is why I said, you should know, who am I? Where do I come from? Where I am going? What is my purpose? You should be clear about it. God has given me life, still I am alive. Everybody, so many people are dying, but still God has given me a life. And I know the purpose. Until the purpose is completed, I will not die. Recently, somebody was telling this is pandemic, a lot of anxiety has come in. And he said, I know that I am here for, I am basically to live, and I will not die until the purpose has been completed. And second thing he said, his motto of life is, and he said, I live to die. Everyone has to die, but I am alive to die. One day I will die, but I am alive today for a purpose. Until then, I will fulfill that. And last thing he said is very fascinating. I will die to live ever with my God. I will die to live with my God forever. So these are all the things which gives confidence in life. So if you have low self-worth, you will become a victim, and in the process, you will victimize somebody else. And insecurity creeps into your life. When insecurity creeps into your life, anxiety will be more, and your performance, your relational, a lot of issues will come when you are when you feel insecurity. And finally, if you are confident that you are a child of God, there is hope and security in God. My closing thoughts, the last slide is, emotional well-being means we can manage our emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. Then we can say that I am emotionally good. Emotional stability, okay, and able to make better decisions in life. Rational thinking gives us to take better decisions in life. And finally, I can navigate the life challenges. Life will throw a lot of challenges with confidence and resilience. It's very important to have confidence and resilience to navigate the life challenges. I hope I have done something worth listening, and you can ponder over it, and you can enjoy the life to the maximum. Thank you for listening. And if you have some questions, as I said, I can take it. You can raise up your hands. Professor Foster will intimate me so that we can answer it.
Sir, there are 2 questions.
Yeah.
In the chat box. The first question, shall I read it out?
Yeah, you can read.
Sir, what is the best thing to do when somebody keeps on irritating to seek our attention? Should I give my attention to them, or should I ignore? If I give them my attention, there is a danger of them taking over advantage over me. So what should be done?
Yeah, very good question. This is it is not your question, it is most of us our question, because there are people in the world, some people keep on irritating us, and because the context in which you are asking is very important. But the best thing is we should think that way, why he is behaving like that. And of course, you cannot change that person, but how to deal with it is, what is lawful, that is very important. What is provided, what is allowed in us, in our capacity. What is his position? He may be your boss, possibly. Otherwise, sometimes we will become an irritating person to our subordinate. If he is a boss, where is the forum to raise your concern? And you have to see a lot of things, because on a plane I cannot give an answer, and it varies to different situations. I think individually, one-to-one, that is why the counseling is very closed door affairs. They talk about their own issues, and we can empathize with you, put us in your shoes, and we should give an answer, what I will do in your situation. And my practice is, most of the times when people keep on irritating, I have some people, and unfortunately some of I find it very difficult to handle some relatives. Then I'll keep quiet, but look for an opportunity to do good to them. Look for an opportunity to do good to them. If some opportunity comes, you take an extra mile to help him. That will really affect their psychology. Even though when we are irritating him, when an opportunity comes, you try to do more. That's what I say. You walk an extra mile to them to help them. That's what I try to practice. Thank you for your question. Anybody else?
Sir, we have 2 more questions.
Yeah.
The next question is, how to overcome the pandemic lockdown psychologically?
Yeah. Yeah, good question. I think we have managed the 6 months. I don't know how. It affects our day-to-day walk of life. We are indisciplined. When I was thinking, really, people have good behavior or good habits, good characters. They have adjusted it very nicely. The discipline of life is very helpful. Some people are able to read a lot of good books. Those who have good reading habits, they were able to read a lot of good books. Whatever the situation, pandemic, they get up early in the morning, they will do all the morning duties correctly, and they will sit up at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I could see people and they go to sleep exactly at the right time. But indisciplined people, I'm also not very disciplined fellow. What we do is we stay late night. That affects our morning. But it's a collective effort because now we meet together at morning 6 o'clock every day. We, some group of people, meet together through Zoom every day morning 6 o'clock. So even though at 12 o'clock every day night at 12 o'clock, I'll think, hey, I have to wake up and attend at morning 6 o'clock when we meet together. So that puts the pressure to me, and I will always go to sleep before 12. Because I have to wake up at 5:30, so that 6 o'clock I have to assemble. So some disciplines will definitely help, and some good fellow beings put pressure on us to discipline us. That is how, as humans, we learn, we grow together. Now we enjoy, as we enjoy life together, we grow together. That's a wonderful life God has given to us. Yeah, Julius sir has raised a question. I think you can unmute and ask. Good. Yeah, go on.
Sir, irrational people on the subject to overeating and drug addict.
Yeah.
Sometimes the rational people also, they are overeating and subject to using drugs. How can you differentiate these two people?
But I think you have to be careful about it. How can you say that he's very rational? Because when he's rational, I was actually very surprised to see the son of Ambani. Son of Ambani, you might have seen him. He is more than 200 kilogram weight, and he has shed 108 kilos. Can you imagine? So we cannot simply say he is very rational. When it is rational, because I was yesterday I was taking thermodynamics. I have started thermodynamics. Thermodynamics is conservation of energy. Energy in, energy out. So when you realize how much energy we are spending, that much energy we should take it in. If you take more than we spend, that will be stored in as a fat in our body. That is rational thinking. That comes to my mind. Okay, some people, you can see that the heavy work, they will do a lot of labor works. They should take more food. They can take 10 prota or 20 prota. But when we do a mild work and when we take 10 or 20 protas per day, that will end up in a bad things. That's a rational thinking. Irrational means they don't bother about it. They keep going with their activities. Hope I have answered it to sum up. I'll take other questions, sir. We will talk, sir. Thank you.
Sir, and,
yeah.
So the next question is how to overcome depression in this COVID era?
Yeah, COVID era. Yeah, better, as I answered it earlier also, I quoted it also, keep yourself very active. Engage in reading what you can do best. Keep doing it. And recently I was thinking, if you can play a little bit of games for half an hour, that will help you. And recently I was going cycling along with my son every day. Around 10 kilometers cycling I used to go. That gives a lot of freshness in your mind. So when we shed sweats, that keeps your mind very good. So it is better walk, do a good walking. You just go to Kanyakumari side, you can see the evening around 5:30 and all. With families, people are walking. They put their car on the sides and they walk. So such a physical activity definitely helps in overcoming this. Depression is there in COVID. It makes us dull, and we need to be active somehow. And physical exercise and discipline will help. Thank you.
And sir, we have an interesting question from Meenu ma'am. What do you think that we have learned from this pandemic situation?
Yeah. One thing I could say that I think where is the control? I think God is in control. The world thought we have developed medically so high, and they have come to a halt. They said, okay, all is in my hand. I am all powerful. I'm controlling the entire world. No, you are not controlling. You're not controlling. Somebody beyond our ability is controlling the entire world. That is one thing, main lesson we can learn. That's what I see that way. Of course, it has put a lot of, and the very sad thing is people making use of this opportunity for self-gain. That is very dangerous. And at the same time, a lot of people are losing jobs. Economically, it is affecting so many people. That is, we cannot measure it. And that causes a lot of stress, a lot of suicide. Of course, we need to realize that. And as far as possible, kindly help people. When I see people with decent dress and asking for money, please give them. I'll say, please give them. Don't look at their motives, because with all their decency, they are asking for some money, because that has made a devastating effect on them. So as far as possible, as God has given us something to share, please share, make others happy. That's a lesson, of course, we learn. Thank you. Sir, anything else?
Sir, we have two more questions which have come up lately.
Okay.
I'll just read them out. Sir, you said that we have to control our emotions or feelings when someone triggers. But feelings outburst only when it is beyond our control. So how we can control our mostly violent feelings? Can you please specify?
Yeah, it is. It doesn't come immediately. It doesn't come immediately, and that is why we say, because as I was dealing with a lot of student psychology. Student psychology is 17th. We have one. I'm giving a talk on understanding today's teens. This 17th. Today is 13th. 17th. I am addressing in our college. One webinar is there. FTP. I am addressing understanding today's teens. This young brain, they say that prefrontal cortex, that is the front portion of the mind, develops very late. In that frontal position only, waits and see the consequences and then take a decisions. If you look at an youngster, a teenager, mostly he makes all decisions emotionally. He will not think rationally, because the rational part of thinking develops as the age goes, as the experience goes, and as the discipline goes. So youngsters, of course, they will be like that. But we need to practice. If you, the habit comes, how the habit comes, how the character comes. If you do the habit is daily of us. And we behavior become a habit, and habit become a character. How will you behave? Behavior is, you behave nicely, you behave well today. That is constant behavior. Then the behavior become a habit. Then we will do with the good behavior normally. Once that behavior is continuously repeated, that becomes a character.
Somewhat helpful.
Sorry, sir. Somebody was
So I think
talking.
somebody's mic is not in the mute.
Okay, no, so that is the way. It doesn't come as such, but a lot of if somebody is really having a problem with the emotions, anger, a lot of counseling people are really helping how to come out of it, and that will definitely helps to improve control our emotions taking center stage in life. Thank you.
So the next question is from Sujalax ma'am. How to improve or train rational thinking of our kids?
The kids will not think rationally. And because பகுத்தறிகிற சிந்தனை வந்து they say that around it will develop fully at the age of 25. It takes time. Kids will behave irrationally. Normally they will not think the consequences, but as they see parents, because the parents are the best teachers. In the pandemic, somebody was asking what is the advantage. The pandemic advantages is students, our children are with us 24/7. When they are with us, and how we handle situations, how we relate with tough situations, how we behave, these all things the children's kids will observe. So what we can give to our children is our way of behavior, our way of handling. I still remember my daughter when I was in IIT in our guest house. Actually, myself and my wife went to the college, and she was alone there. And that time she was doing her first standard. And one Tamil family has occupied our friend house, and she went there and talked. We don't know them. She first time she is meeting them, and she went there and told that person, நீங்க என்ன தேவைனாலும் எங்க அப்பாட்ட கேளுங்க, எங்க அப்பா செய்திருவாங்க. அவங்க திருப்பி வந்த உடனே என்கிட்ட சொல்றாங்க, உங்க மகன் எனக்கு தெரியாது, we don't know who, but தமிழ்ல பேசினாங்க, பேசிட்டு இப்படி சொன்னாங்க. So the way we interact in our family, within our circle, that will give a lasting impact in the minds of our kids, and value systems will definitely go that way. Yeah, thank you.
So the last question is from Vanaja ma'am. Sir, kindly suggest few books.
A lot of books are there. I think it is not one. I think so many books are there, and so many net facilities are there. Psychology Today, cognitive behavior therapy. Cognitive behavior therapy, you can think about it. That is because a lot of people are asking feeling, thoughts, and behavior. This cognition. These three has to work together for our well-being. So there is a therapy when there is a disorder. When there is a disorder, somebody asked earlier also, that same question was there. When you feel that there is a disorder, and it is better, you can read on that topic. CBT, they say. In psychology, they call it as CBT, Cognitive Behavior Therapy. That is a good book. A lot of materials are there. That will definitely help if you are ready to learn and ready to accept things. Yeah, thank you.
I think we have almost answered all the questions raised by the participants.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that was a wonderful session. Okay, now it's time to thank the resource person. For the past 1 hour, we've been listening to a wonderful presentation about the different ways to keep the emotional well-being intact. I'm sure you'll be taking home some important ideas for a healthier emotional being, a healthier emotional state. Thank you, Professor, for sharing your wisdom in this topic.